Sometimes when we're planning out our trips, we find that we just kind of have to stop in the middle of nowhere, and we really don't know what to do while we're there. But sometimes these little out-of-the-way places turn out to be some of the best surprises.
And that's what we're going to talk about today.
I had a dream, you were a laser light, burning down the city in my blues. I owe it all to you. I owe it all to you. I do. I owe it all to you.
Last year we wanted to get back to Florida in time for Christmas to see family. Now, in order to make our schedule work, we did a stop in Mobile, Alabama.
Right.
Actually just a little bit south of Mobile. We were only there for a week. I work all during the week, so we really didn't expect to do too much while we were there,
Right.
but we were actually pleasantly surprised. We ended up talking to the owner of the campground that we were staying at.
Hey, Ed.
Hey, Ed. And he gave us some really good tips, and that's what we want to talk about today. We ended up doing 3 things in the short amount of time we were there. We really enjoyed all 3 of them. Some of them were relaxing, but the last thing I want to talk about last is kind of my favorite. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
And for all the guys out there, they're going to think it's really cool too.
I think it's for the guys and the girls. But honey, did you comb your hair today?
No.
It shows.
Oh boy.
We are on our way to Dauphin Island in Alabama.
Yep, just by Mobile Bay. And we only got to spend a week here. We're just trying to get back to Florida in time for Christmas.
Yeah, Danny's working all week, so we wanted to.
Yeah, we just have honestly an hour or 2 after work because
Yeah.
it gets dark at 5. You know, by 5:30 it's dark here now, so we can't do too much. But we're gonna run down to Dauphin Island, take a look at it. It's right at Mobile Bay. There's actually Fort Gaines, right there at the mouth of the bay, which is kind of cool. A lot of history. It was in the Battle of Mobile Bay during the Civil War. So we're probably not gonna have time to go tour it, but we'll definitely drive by it. We want to head out to the beach too and take a quick look at the beach. But it's gonna be a very quick trip to Dauphin Island.
Yeah.
But
At least we'll see it.
At least we're gonna see it.
Now the first thing we want to talk about is Dauphin Island. This was actually pretty cool and definitely a pleasant surprise,
Yeah.
I think. Dauphin Island, it's a barrier island on the Gulf Coast of Alabama. It's south of Mobile, Alabama.
Right.
It has about roughly 7 miles of beaches, and these beaches are really known for some really nice white sand. Now part of these beaches, or I should say some of these beaches, are dog friendly. I think some of the beaches on the western end, you're not supposed to have dogs there,
Right.
but luckily for us, we were on the eastern end. Now the only way to get to this island is from the mainland or from the road, be State Road 193. You go over a bridge, you're on the island, or you can actually take a ferry to the island as well. So it's just kind of nice, even if you don't have much time like us, just driving on the island, maybe going to the beach for a little bit. It's really kind of cool. But there are some things to do there if you have more time than we did. One of the things is Fort Gaines. Now Fort Gaines is an old Civil War fort. I guess it kind of protected the Mobile Bay for over 150 years, again during the Civil War time frame, the 1800s and all. But it's still there today, and it's actually right next to the parking lot that we parked at.
Right.
So you can kind of walk around the fort for free. You can also go into the fort. Now there is an admission fee for that. I think it was like $9 for adults and $5 for kids, but it'd probably be pretty neat. I think if we had more time, we definitely would have done that. And something kind of cool too, out in the fort's parking lot is a part of an old shipwreck. They kind of have a hole and a plaque that talks about it too. So just driving around the parking lot, you can see that. So Fort Gaines would really be something pretty cool to see as well.
Definitely.
Now something else they have there is the Sea Lab Aquarium, and this is really, scientists are working there. It's an aquarium, but it's a working aquarium as well. You can walk around the outside. They have boardwalks, which is right on the water. They have some plaques that talk about what the scientists are researching, what kind of research is going on at the time. So just that alone is pretty interesting as well. But you can pay to go inside into the aquarium itself. I believe they have multiple pieces of there are multiple aquariums on the inside. Again, we didn't get a chance to go inside because we were limited on time.
Do you remember what it was, cost to get in?
Yeah, this was about $12 for adults and $6 for kids to get in. So something, and that's literally right across the street from Fort Gaines.
I think it would be really something.
It would be,
exciting to see.
especially if you had little kids. It'd be kind of neat to see as well.
Definitely.
So Dauphin Island, it turned out to be a pretty pleasant surprise for us.
It was, and we caught an awesome sunset.
Oh yeah, we got a beautiful sunset, and to top it all off, we almost ruined some guys.
Oh yeah.
Somebody was getting ready to propose out on the beach, and we didn't realize what was happening at the time. And we started walking almost right up to him as he was getting ready to propose. And then we finally realized what was going on, and we backed off and gave him their space.
We were looking at the beautiful water
We
and
were.
the sunset, not paying attention to what was right in front of us.
So sorry, whoever you were.
They laughed. They thought it was funny.
But we almost ruined somebody's
Please don't let me kill him.
engagement.
Jesus, please don't let me kill
She
him.
made me come look at flowers.
I'm gonna kill him.
Not my
You
thing.
guys, it might be just me and rodeo.
Next week's video. I may not be in it.
We are at the Bellingrath Home and Gardens in Mobile, Alabama. Or Bellingrath, Alabama, right?
I guess.
I think it's Bellingrath, Alabama. Anyway, they just opened up their Christmas light show, holiday light show, and we're going in.
Yay.
Yay! He's gonna love it. I'll buy him some fudge or something.
Okay.
The next thing we're going to talk about is the Bellingrath House and Gardens. Apparently, this is a pretty big deal. Apparently, people come from all over the world to look at these gardens, and we never.
Theodore, Alabama.
Theodore, Alabama, just a little bit west of Mobile. I think with maybe within 10 miles or so from where we were at.
This is so pretty. I wish you guys could smell whatever is in the air here because it's to die for. It smells so good.
Oh, that was good.
It's not you. It's like a very light, sweet, it's a perfume, a little bit of a flower fragrance, I would say, but it's really nice, very clean. Right, hon?
They like jazz.
This was actually kind of cool. Now, I'm not big into gardens, but this was really cool because we were there during just before the Christmas or the Christmas season. So this house and garden is 65 acres, roughly 65 acres of gardens. You're allowed to walk all around it, and when we were there again, they were all lit up with Christmas and holiday decor, Christmas stuff. Is really, really neat. Now their house was started in 1935. And they finished it in 1936. And you can take tours of the house too.
But underneath them is Asa Candler, the guy that sold the formula for $1.
Wow.
And then this is all of them in 1912. And then Walter's one of the first 10 in 1903. So you can see how quickly they're growing in just a few short 9 years.
Wow.
Now what's kind of neat, the house is kind of like a living museum. They didn't put like time period furniture in there. The furniture and everything in there, or I should say almost everything in there, is the way they left it.
It's all original.
So it's all original, just as if they were living there themselves.
And decorated.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. The house itself, they do tours. I think it was like a 30 minutes. You kind of go through the house. It was really, really neat.
The house itself is 10,500 square feet.
Yeah, it's huge. It was really,
Just
really
a
neat.
small home.
But what this was actually a piece of property. I think I get the guy's name right. Walter Bellingrath. It was an old fish camp that he bought. Now the mistake that he made was he brought his wife to the fish camp. She turned it into a great big garden area. So moral of the story is don't bring your wife to your fish camp.
Right.
But it's kind of neat. He was actually the first Coca-Cola bottler in Mobile, Alabama.
Yeah.
And this guy had some big money, I think, back in the day. The house, again, is huge. The stuff, remember all the silverware in there?
The porcelain.
Just everything was really, really neat. If you do get a chance to go to see the gardens, definitely spend the extra $5 or whatever it was to go inside the house. It was definitely worth it. It's kind of neat to see all the silverware, just everything that they use. There's a lot of Coca-Cola stuff inside there as well. very, very interesting. So the house tour is about 30 minutes. You can actually tour the garden about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Now it took us a little bit longer than that just because it was during the Christmas period. So there's a lot of lights, they set it up, and it was really pretty neat. But something else they had there too is the old guest house sits on top of a 6-car garage where they ended up closing in, and they turned that into a gallery. And apparently this guy, I'm gonna get his name down here, Boehm, he makes porcelain stuff, right? And apparently he was pretty dang good at it too. There's over 5 presidents that commissioned stuff from him. He did stuff for a couple different popes. So apparently this guy was very, very well known. But they ended up getting a lot of his porcelain things that he made. They made a gallery out of the garage area and put his stuff in there. I gotta tell you, again, porcelain, I could kind of care less, but this was really cool, right? The detail,
intricate.
it was unbelievable. It looked real. Some of it looked really,
birds and the flowers.
It was a lot of wildlife stuff that he did. Very, very interesting, very cool. So if you can go to the gardens, do the whole thing, give yourself maybe 3 hours or so.
I would say so.
The gardens were pretty cool. The house I thought was really cool, and the porcelain was pretty interesting as well. So that's the Bellingrath House and Gardens. Again, this is something else that we didn't even know about. It was suggested to us, and I'm so glad we got a chance to do it. A lot of fun. Now, before we get to my favorite part, if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, please subscribe, and also make sure you hit the like button as well. It doesn't cost you a thing, and it helps us out, so thanks.
We appreciate it very much, and thank you.
Now, my favorite part was the USS Alabama Battleship Memorial Park. Mobile, Alabama. We got the USS Alabama battleship behind us. We got some great big old sub over here. We got a B-52 bomber, F-16s, DC-3s, F-18s, F-14s,
And
Huey helicopters, tanks, a little bit everything around here.
how does that thing get in the air?
Thing is huge. So this looks pretty cool. We're gonna go. First we want to see is definitely the battleship. We're going to spend some time in there, and the sub, and anything left over, any time left over. We're going to look at some of the aircraft. So this looks like a pretty cool place. It was really, really cool. This was we got to spend a Saturday there, and I'm really, really glad we did. This is actually one of the biggest tourist attractions in Alabama, in the state. And I'm so glad we found it, or somebody told us and recommended it for us. This was really cool. Now, what it was is it's the USS Alabama, or the Mighty A. Some people may know it. It's an old World War II battleship. It was built, I believe the keel was laid in 1940 in Norfolk, Virginia. There's a whole lot of guns on this ship. Holy smokes, I never realized how many there was.
Guns.
Oh boy. This is pretty impressive. We just got on the ship. We haven't even started our tour yet, but just looking on the deck, this is pretty cool. Amazing. I mean, it served time during World War II. It was in, I believe, the North Atlantic and the South Pacific, and it did see some battle time.
Right.
Very, very interesting. And what they did was they kind of created this park, this memorial park, and really the battleship is kind of the hub of it, or the main attraction. But they brought in other stuff as well. There's a submarine, we'll talk about in a second, a lot of aircraft, some tanks and artillery stuff. So they made this whole memorial park, which was really, really cool. Now, the USS Alabama, what I really liked about this, they give you pretty good access, right?
Oh, it was unbelievable.
We walked all around. I believe three different decks we were on. Below deck, then you go above deck. We got to go into the main, I guess, where the big guns are down below, where they bring up all the ammunition and the powder and gunpowder all down in there. The mess hall, different compartments or different little rooms. We had... Dina got all excited. She thought those were moonshine bottles. I don't want to say full access,
But it was darn near it.
it was darn near, and they really set it up pretty cool. It was a lot of fun. Now there's a few things on there that I'm glad I'm not a sailor. If you remember the head, the bathroom, I think we got some video. I'll kind of show it, but I won't go into
No,
it. But
you
just
don't have
picture a
to.
trough.
Yeah.
Picture a bunch of
trough.
people lined up with a
Yeah.
trough below it.
Yeah.
I'm never going to forget that.
Going in the head.
Dina's got to go to the bathroom.
Oh my gosh. I guess they didn't have doors on them. Look at that. Just like a trough.
Oh boy.
It is though.
It is.
Look. Oh.
The whole battleship was really cool. Up on deck, up top. There's things on there we didn't know battleships had. It was just very interesting. So that was cool. So now you go from this great big battleship, you walk a couple hundred yards, and you go to this little old World War II submarine. And this is it's the USS Drum. Now, believe it or not, these old submarines used to be named after fish.
Yeah.
So a drum is any fish that makes like a drumming noise. So that's kind of where the sub got its name from. Hey, Dina, get in front of me for a minute. Come on. Trust me. But this is the oldest U.S. submarine on public display. So that's kind of neat. But you go from this huge battleship where the hallways are pretty decent, the rooms are pretty wide or big, into this little sub, and you're literally squeezing your way down the hallways. The little watertight doors, remember you had to kind of bend over and get in. I was able to crawl up or climb up some ladders to, I guess, where the periscope stuff would be, or the conning tower, I think is what it's called. Very tight, extremely tight. Some places, if you were going to pass people, you'd have to turn sideways. It was literally that tight. So between the battleship and the submarine, that was cool, right? We spent a lot of time on that. And I've always been into airplanes, and I love the World War II time period of airframes or airplanes. And they had a bunch of airplanes. They had a huge hangar with a lot of old airplanes in there, and this was really cool as well. And they had I don't know, I think a P-40, they had a P-51, an F-14, an F-18, they had a B-52 out front. They had an old Blackbird spy plane out there as well. I think now they actually have an old Marine One with the president's helicopter. I think they have that there now. So if you're into aircraft, they had some really cool aircraft as well. Now also inside the hangar with the aircraft, they had some old vehicles. I think some old vehicles in there and some other stuff as well. So this is definitely, you can spend a full day there.
Oh yeah.
And then even outside on the grounds, they had some tanks and some artillery and things like that. We didn't get to spend too much time there because we spent so much time on the battleship and on the inside. But the USS Alabama Battleship Memorial Park, I think it's a definite.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
If I remember right, for adults, depending on age, it was anywhere from $15 to $18 to get in. I think kids were like $6 or $7 to get in. They do charge $5 for parking. However, something just to be aware of, if you have 3 or more axles, this could be a lot of RVs, or if you're towing an RV, they charge $30 for parking. So if you're able to unhitch, you may want to leave an RV behind, so you save yourself some money. But the Memorial Park, we'll never forget it, right? I mean, the battleship was just so cool. The stuff.
I have good things to say about it.
It was
fantastic.
It really was. You even really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. Of course, your dad was in the Navy too, so that helped out
I have
too.
a little bit to do with it, but
you're a little biased. Go Army.
Go Navy.
Hey. So hopefully you enjoyed some of the stuff that we got to share with you. I know we really did enjoy our time in Mobile, Alabama. So once again, it just kind of goes to show you, you can find stuff anywhere you
Yeah,
go.
it
Honestly, if you want to live life to the fullest, right, which is what we're trying to do, there are ways to find things that you may not expect and really, really go out there and enjoy yourself.
Right. I know
So,
we're always trying to make the most of wherever we are,
Yeah.
whatever we have to deal with. So, and we do try to make the
Yeah.
most of it. May not sometimes be enough time to do everything we want to see and
Yeah.
do, but still, we do.
we make the most of the time we have.
Yeah, we do. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video as much as we enjoyed sharing it with you guys. Hopefully you'll have a great week next week, and we'll see you next Sunday.
Remember, always live life to the fullest.
Safe travels and God bless.